Welcome to the Do Zone, where entrepreneurs go to get things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. You can find me on all social media at JT Literally. Each week, I bring on experts from a variety of backgrounds to share their secrets on how to optimize performance so you can take massive action and crush your goals. If you want help to bring in quick cash and wins for your business in as little as the next 7 days, I'm going to give you a simple framework that has worked for me and my clients time and time again at no cost to you. Go to factor1.io now, enter your email address for immediate access. Once again, that's factor1.io. Today's guest is Leland Gross. Leland is a business owner and entrepreneur with over 7+ years of experience as a financial planner. He is the founder of PeaceLink Financial Planning, where he works with realtors and self-employed millennials to help them get the life they want from their business. He was voted top 40 under 40 in 2023 by Inside Business. And he is also the host of the Self-Employment Success podcast. Leland, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
Yeah, my number one answer to that is to get crystal clear about who you serve, how you serve them, and when you serve them. I feel like oftentimes we're running around trying to be all things to all people. Whereas if you can really focus and say, who do I serve? What's my niche? How do I serve them? And when, then you can get really efficient on your calendar, your time blocking, balancing meetings with administrative time, business life, personal life. So getting crystal clear on who, how, and when you serve the people you serve.
I think that win is so often overlooked because there are a lot of people we can serve.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're serving them at the wrong time, we are not effective for ourselves and we're not effective for them. And because sometimes we just got to wait until it's the right time to really help somebody. And
Mm-hmm.
so could you just expand on that a little bit more? Because not enough people talk about, hey, there's a lot of people I can help. And there's a lot of people that are the right fit for me. It's just not the right time. So could you expand on that?
Yeah, I think I see people doing too much for too many, for too long, and for too little money. Meaning, because they serve so many people, and we have this internal fear as entrepreneurs that if I say no to someone, or if I say not yet to someone, or I say, hey, I just don't know that, this is the best fit right now. Here are some things that I think would really help you. And when you achieve them, come back. When we're afraid to draw those lines, we end up running around, burning ourselves out at both ends, trying to be all things to all people. And in order to do that, now we're getting messy. We're meeting, after hours, before hours, and time that should be used for other parts of our business. And so getting really clear to say, what do I actually want out of my business? What's the reason I got into it? It's not to work nights and weekends and to spend a lot of time on the phone with the IRS. So what's the life I want?
What?
What's my what's the dream business life balance I want? And then who do I serve really well that excites me? And what are their demographics? And then where do they need to be in order to make it a valuable engagement? So, I'm a financial planner by trade. I could work with anybody. I could work with, a college graduate dealing with student loans. I could work with a 80-year-old retiree dealing with Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. Those don't excite me. And so figuring out who I serve, who brings me to life, whose complexity is what I'm really good at, where I provide a lot of value, allows me to then focus in and build a practice that's hyper efficient and ultra successful, as opposed to doing, an inch worth of value for a mile of people. And so, but that takes drawing boundaries and saying, I just don't know that we're the right fit, or hey, I don't know that this is the right time in your life for this engagement. So here's what that would look like. So yeah, I really strive not to do too much for too many, for too long, for too little, you know?
Yeah, understood. And one of the things that you do like to focus on is helping people who are self-employed kind of plan for their financial future and specifically about taxes because
Mhm.
you crushed my world, Leland. I love sitting on the phone talking to the IRS agents. That's the only reason I launched a business. But tell
Well,
me,
you got into a good trade if you want to do that. So, you know.
yeah, exactly. And so talk to me a little bit about some of the kind of fears that we have around, or the ignorance that we have around taxes and financial planning, and some of the strategies that you share to help people overcome that.
Yeah, in my experience, there are two types of entrepreneurs. The person who loves business, doesn't really care what the business is doing itself, but just likes the world of business and business finance, and they'll probably buy any business in order to do it. Um, I feel like that is actually the minority compared to most small business owners really love the trade of what they do. They are a wedding photographer who loves photography, but is now an entrepreneur, or they're a realtor or real estate professional, or you name it. And those people got into business because they love what they do and they desired freedom and upward earnings potential and all the vision of life. But most entrepreneurs aren't classically trained in the IRS code. Very few people are. And so it causes a lot of anxiety. Even if they're doing everything right, there's a fear that they're not, because nobody feels confident filing their own taxes. Nobody feels like they're taking advantage of every little loophole or law. And there's this overwhelming fear that if I get it wrong, the IRS is going to come knock on my door and I'm going to jail because I didn't submit the right receipt on QuickBooks. Like we have this internal anxiety around, how do I pay my taxes quarterly? When should I be an S corp? What is an S corp? All these little buzzwords that we hear, and just being able to get really clear about how big do you want your business to be? How do you run your cash flow through your business to where it is separated from your personal? That's a business finance 101, but there's a lot of people. You'd be shocked at how many people come in and they have great spreadsheets keeping it all separate, but it's all just running through their personal account, which is opening them up to insane liabilities. So that's what I get really passionate about, is saying, what's the life that you want from your business? And how do we go in and say, all right, when you sell a product, when you sell your services and that money comes in, what is the plan of action? How much goes to a tax account? Is there a tax account set up? Are the accounts in your business's name or in your personal? And how do we make sure that we're taking advantage of every possible credit, deduction, not loophole, but sometimes like tax rules and strategies, in order to keep as much of that money in your pocket as possible, so that then you can pay yourself as much as possible from your business. And then you can build that life that you ultimately got into this to start doing. I tell people, always tip your server. Be a very generous server tipper. Do not tip the IRS. They don't require it, but they love it. They want you to tip them. And too many times entrepreneurs are the people who do that because we don't know what we can and cannot write off. And a lot of it is business specific. Like I can't go write off a massage, but I have a client who is a professional athlete and a dietitian for professional athletes. She can write off a massage because that's part of her actual business. She needs that because her body is the literal product to her professional athleticism. And so getting clear about what works in your business and how do we ultimately use this asset, this investment that you ultimately have a ton of control over, to get the best return possible.
Yeah, well said. Love that. And so, talk to us a little bit more about who is your target market? Who do you help the best, and how can they connect with you?
Yeah, I would say, if you go to my website, you'll see two kind of target clients. One would be realtors and one would just be self-employed millennials, which is a little bit more vague. But I really love to live in that world where business and personal meet. And that typically happens with small business owners who are in that, single member LLC, partnership, S Corp world, the pass through entities where um, everything your business makes and expenses is directly passed through to your personal taxes. There's so many fun tools and strategies that the IRS has created for you that most people just aren't taking advantage of. And so if you own a small business and maybe you just have an LLC set up and you don't really know how you're taxed, you've heard the S Corp buzzword, that may be best, that may not be best for you. But if those are some of your questions, if you're navigating self-employment tax, how to deal with health insurance and retirement when you don't have a 401k or a benefits package, those are the types of questions that I feel like I really thrive in figuring out. How do we take this business of yours and make it thrive? Because ultimately, in traditional financial advising, we're buying shares of companies. Well, when you own a business, you are the sole shareholder of this company. That is technically an equity stock you own 100% of, but you get to actually control what the business does to make it as profitable as possible. And that's really fun and super powerful when it comes to building personal wealth, achieving success. So I would say, yeah, that realtors who are kind of also in that world and self-employed millennials in that pass-through entity, closely held business space is what I get really jazzed up on.
Awesome. And where can we go to learn more about you and connect with you directly?
Yeah, you can go to my website. It's PeaceLink, PeaceLinkFP, F as in financial, P as in planning.com. Everything's there. You can also find me on all social medias at PeaceLinkFP is the handle for all of them, YouTube, and then my podcast, which is the Self-Employment Success Podcast.
Excellent. Well, hey, we're going to wrap up from here. Thanks so much to our guest, Leland Gross, for sharing wisdom about how he gets things done and how we can stop tipping the IRS. You can go and learn more about his services directly by going to peacelinkfp.com. And whether you're on your morning commute, in the gym, or somewhere out in the field, snap a selfie, tag me at JT Literally. Show me what you do while you're in the do zone. And one more time, if you need a quick injection of cash in your business right now and you want to keep it from the IRS, like Leland says, I got a free gift for you. Just go to factor1.io, enter your email address. I'll give you immediate access. Know this, you are Factor One for your own success. Let's get to work.